Episode 1: The Dark Psychology of Football Rivalries. Part 1: Hook Plus Chapter 1. Every football match tells two stories. One unfolds on the pitch. The other unfolds inside the human mind. Welcome to Mind Rewire. Imagine this. Two strangers meet for the very first time. They have never spoken to one another. They don't know each other's names. They don't know where the other grew up. They have never shared a meal, a conversation, or a memory. Yet within moments, one wears blue, the other wears red. 90 minutes later, they are shouting, celebrating, arguing, sometimes crying. What changed? How can a game involving 22 players and a single ball awaken emotions so powerful that millions of people feel joy, heartbreak, pride, anger, and hope all at once? Why do intelligent, compassionate people suddenly become fiercely loyal to a badge, a jersey, or a club? Why does defeating one particular opponent feel sweeter than winning a championship against anyone else? And why do some rivalries survive for generations, passed from parents to children like treasured family traditions? The answer is surprising. Football did not create these emotions. It simply discovered them. Hidden beneath every modern human mind lies a brain that evolved long before stadiums, television, or the World Cup. A brain shaped by survival. A brain that still searches for allies, still watches for enemies, still longs to belong. Tonight, we step beyond the goals, the trophies, and the headlines. We'll explore why football rivalries become so intense, why they can inspire incredible acts of loyalty, yet sometimes lead to hatred and violence. And most importantly, what these rivalries reveal about ourselves. Because when we understand football, we begin to understand the human mind. Chapter 1. Before football, there were tribes. Imagine living 10,000 years ago. There are no cities, no countries, no stadiums, no football clubs. Your world is small. A few dozen people, a river, a forest, and danger waiting beyond the trees. Survival depends on one thing: your tribe. Together, your people hunt. They gather food. They protect one another. They raise children together. Alone, survival is nearly impossible. Belonging isn't simply comforting. It is life itself. Over thousands of generations, the human brain became remarkably skilled at recognizing one simple question. Are you one of us? The answer had enormous consequences. If someone belonged to your group, they were likely to protect you, share food, warn you of danger, stand beside you when conflict arrived. If someone belonged to another group, uncertainty followed. Could they be trusted? Would they compete for resources? Would they become friends or enemies? Our ancestors didn't have time for lengthy debates. Their brains learned to make quick decisions. Friend, stranger, them. Those ancient mental shortcuts helped humans survive. But evolution rarely removes old software. Instead, it builds new layers on top. Today, we live in modern cities. We use smartphones. We travel around the world. We communicate instantly with people we've never met. Yet deep inside, part of our brain still asks the same ancient question. Who belongs to my tribe? Football gives that ancient instinct a modern home. The jersey becomes the tribe's colors. The club's crest becomes its symbol. The stadium becomes shared territory. The supporters become family. Think about the first football match you truly cared about. Maybe you watched with your father, your mother, your grandparents, friends from school. Perhaps you remember the excitement before kickoff, the nervous silence before a penalty, the explosion of joy after a goal. Those moments weren't only about football. They were about belonging. The memories attached themselves to the team. Over time, supporting that club became more than entertainment. It became part of your identity. Psychologists call this social identity. We naturally define ourselves through the groups we belong to: our family, our hometown, our nation, our profession, and sometimes, our football club. When someone praises our team, it feels personal. When someone insults our team, it can feel like they are insulting us. Logically, we know they are talking about 11 players. Emotionally, our ancient brain hears something very different. They are attacking my tribe. This explains why football rivalries often feel far more emotional than they appear from the outside. To someone with no interest in football, two clubs are simply two teams. To devoted supporters, they represent history, family, identity, community, memory, hope. That is why rivalries are rarely about one match. They are stories carried across generations. Children inherit them. Families celebrate them. Entire cities remember them. Every chant echoes voices from decades before. Every derby carries the weight of countless victories and defeats. Football is not unique because people love it. Football is unique because it awakens instincts that have lived inside humanity for thousands of years. The pitch becomes a stage. The match becomes a ritual. The rivalry becomes a modern expression of one of humanity's oldest instincts, the desire to belong to something greater than ourselves. But belonging has a hidden cost. The stronger our love for us, the easier it becomes to distrust them. And that is where the darker psychology begins. In the next chapter, we'll explore why choosing a football club can quietly become part of who we are and why changing sides can feel almost impossible. Chapter 2. When a team becomes your identity. Have you ever asked someone why they support a particular football club? Many people answer with surprising confidence. I've supported them all my life. My father supported them. My whole family supports them. I was born into it. Notice something interesting. Very few people say they carefully compared every club in the world before making a logical decision. Most of us don't choose our team. Our team chooses us. Sometimes it begins with a childhood memory. A parent lifts a young child onto their shoulders inside a crowded stadium. The crowd begins to sing. Thousands of voices become one. The child doesn't fully understand the rules, but they understand the feeling. Safety, excitement, connection. Years later, that feeling is still there. Sometimes it begins with a single player. A child watches an impossible goal. For a brief moment, the impossible becomes real. That player becomes a hero. The club becomes magical. Sometimes it begins with geography. You support the club from your neighborhood because those players represent your city. When they win, your city wins. When they lose, everyone feels the disappointment together. These experiences slowly become woven into our identity. Without realizing it, we stop saying, I like this team. Instead, we say, we won. We lost. Listen carefully to football conversations. Supporters almost never speak as outsiders. Even though they never stepped onto the field, even though they never kicked the winning goal, they speak as if they were part of the team. Because psychologically, they are. Not physically, but emotionally. Our brains are remarkably good at expanding the meaning of the word we. Researchers have found that belonging to a meaningful group can increase confidence, reduce loneliness, and provide emotional support during difficult times. Football clubs become communities. Complete strangers hug after a last-minute goal. People from different backgrounds celebrate together. Age disappears. Language disappears. Income disappears. For 90 minutes, everyone belongs. This is one of football's greatest gifts. But every gift has a shadow. The stronger our identity becomes, the harder it becomes to stay objective. Imagine reading two identical newspaper articles. One criticizes your favorite club. The other criticizes your biggest rival. Even if both articles contain similar evidence, most supporters naturally believe the article about their rival and question the one about their own team, not because they are dishonest, because the brain quietly protects identities that feel important. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. We notice information that supports what we already believe. We ignore information that challenges it. Every human mind does this, not only in football, in politics, business, relationships, religion, and everyday life. Football simply makes it easier to see. The badge on a jersey slowly becomes more than a logo. It becomes part of the story we tell ourselves about who we are, which is why changing clubs feels surprisingly difficult. For some supporters, it almost feels like changing families, or changing part of themselves. Chapter 3. When rivalry becomes irrational. Imagine two lifelong supporters watching the exact same match. The referee makes a controversial decision. One supporter immediately shouts, "That's a terrible call." The other shouts, "That's absolutely the right decision." Both watched the same event. Both saw the same replay, yet each becomes more certain that they are correct. Why? Because our brains rarely experience reality as a camera would. We experience reality through emotion. Emotion shapes attention. Attention shapes memory. Memory shapes belief. And belief shapes what we think we saw. Football rivalries magnify this process. Every challenge feels more aggressive. Every foul feels more unfair. Every mistake by the referee feels intentional. The rival club stops being just another team. It becomes them. History shows that this pattern exists far beyond football. Humans have always divided the world into groups. Our group, their group. Once those boundaries become emotionally important, our thinking changes. We forgive mistakes made by people inside our group. We judge mistakes made by people outside it much more harshly. Psychologists call this in-group bias. It happens so naturally that most people never notice it. Football simply puts this ancient instinct under bright stadium lights. Social media often makes it even stronger. A controversial moment happens. Within seconds, thousands of comments appear. Supporters mostly read opinions from people who already agree with them. The result is an echo chamber. The same belief is repeated again and again until it feels unquestionably true. Slowly, the rival supporters stop looking like ordinary people. Instead, they become stereotypes. They're all arrogant. They always cheat. They never deserve to win. The more we simplify another group, the easier it becomes to dislike them. History has shown this pattern many times, not only in sport. Whenever humans stop seeing individuals, conflict becomes easier. Fortunately, football also teaches the opposite lesson. After the final whistle, players exchange shirts. They shake hands. Many rivals become close friends when representing their national teams. Off the pitch, respect often replaces hostility. That is a lesson supporters sometimes forget. The players know something important. Competition does not require hatred. You can fight with everything you have for 90 minutes and still respect the person standing across from you. Perhaps that is the real purpose of rivalry. Not to create enemies, but to challenge us. To test whether passion can exist without prejudice. Whether loyalty can exist without hatred. Whether competition can make us stronger without making us cruel. In the next chapter, we'll journey inside the brain itself to discover why a single goal can flood the body with chemicals powerful enough to make millions of people jump, scream, cry, and remember the moment for the rest of their lives. Chapter 4. Inside the football brain. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your favorite team is playing in the final minutes of a championship match. The score is tied. The stadium is shaking. Thousands of supporters are standing. No one is sitting anymore. Your heart beats faster. Your breathing becomes shorter. Every pass feels important. Every second feels longer than the one before. Then it happens. Perfect cross. Powerful header. The ball flies toward the corner of the net. For one brief moment, time seems to stop. Then the stadium explodes. People scream. They hug complete strangers. Some fall to their knees. Others burst into tears. Why? After all, nothing in your personal life has physically changed. Your job is the same. Your home is the same. Your family is the same. Yet your emotions feel overwhelming. The answer lies inside your brain. When something exciting happens, the brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is often called the brain's reward chemical. It creates feelings of excitement, motivation, and pleasure. But football adds something special. The uncertainty. Nobody knows what will happen next. Every attack could become a goal. Every mistake could change history. Our brains are naturally drawn to uncertainty because uncertainty keeps our attention alive. That is why the final minutes of a close match can feel almost unbearable. Then there is adrenaline. As tension rises, your body prepares for action. Your heart beats faster. Your muscles tighten. Your senses become sharper. Even though you are sitting safely on your sofa, your ancient survival system behaves as if you are part of the battle. And there is another remarkable part of the story: mirror neurons. These specialized brain cells become active when we watch someone else perform an action. They help us understand the emotions and intentions of other people. When your favorite player celebrates, part of your brain celebrates with them. When they miss an easy chance, you feel the disappointment almost as if it happened to you. The brain blurs the line between observer and participant. That is why supporters often say, "I felt every minute." They are not exaggerating. From the brain's perspective, they truly did. Football also creates powerful memories. Think back to a goal you watched many years ago. You may still remember exactly where you were, who was beside you, how loudly everyone shouted. Emotion strengthens memory. The more emotional an experience becomes, the more deeply it is stored. That is why football memories often stay with us for life. Not because football is magical, but because the human brain is. Chapter 5. When passion becomes poison. Football has inspired acts of incredible kindness. Fans raising money for strangers. Entire stadiums applauding children fighting illness. Supporters comforting rival fans after tragedy. These moments remind us that football can reveal the very best of humanity. But it can also reveal the worst. Sometimes passion becomes obsession. A rival supporter is no longer seen as another human being. They become an enemy. Insults replace conversations. Threats replace respect. Violence replaces celebration. How does this happen? It rarely begins with hatred. It begins with identity. The stronger we identify with one group, the easier it becomes to exaggerate the differences between ourselves and others. Instead of thinking, "They support another team," we begin thinking, "They are completely different from us." This is one of the oldest mistakes the human mind makes. History shows us where this kind of thinking can lead. Not only in football, in every part of society. Whenever people forget our shared humanity, division grows. But football also gives us an opportunity. Every rivalry asks the same question. Can you compete fiercely without losing your compassion? Can you love your club without hating someone else's? Can you celebrate victory without humiliating defeat? The greatest supporters understand this. They sing louder, celebrate harder, stay loyal longer. But they also respect the game, respect the opponent, respect the people sitting on the other side of the stadium. Because without an opponent, there is no competition. Without competition, there is no growth. And without growth, there is no greatness. Mind Rewire. Perhaps football was never meant to teach us how to defeat others. Perhaps it was meant to teach us how to understand ourselves. Every rivalry exposes something hidden inside the human mind. Our longing to belong. Our desire to protect what we love. Our tendency to divide the world into us and them. These instincts once helped our ancestors survive. Today, they still live quietly inside each of us. Football simply shines a spotlight on them. The next time you watch a match, pay attention not only to the players. Pay attention to yourself. Notice your excitement. Notice your frustration. Instincts. We are no longer controlled by them. We can cheer passionately, compete fiercely, celebrate joyfully, and still remember that, beneath different jerseys, different languages, and different flags, we all share the same human heart. In the end, football is not just a game about winning. It is a mirror. And sometimes, the greatest opponent we will ever face is not wearing another team's colors. It is the unconscious part of ourselves. Until next time, every football match tells two stories. One unfolds on the pitch. The other unfolds inside the human mind. Keep questioning, keep growing, and keep rewiring your mind.